Pelicans. We're at Crypto taking on LeBron, Luka, and the Lakers. Let's get to it. Come on, Bron. 8 minutes to go in the third is where we pick it up. Wow. A little vintage Bron there.
We're starting in the third, but we saw this play happen once, twice, 3 times in the first half.
Truly.
Transition.
Oh,
hey, Trey. Show me what you got, Trey.
Come on.
Hey.
Okay, airtime.
Clean.
Insane.
Clean.
What are we talking about? Fourth quarter. Come on, Zion. Give us a little something.
And what I like here is that, trying to get back to his form, you see his signature move right here. The flex.
Look at it. I love it.
With the flex, hit him.
Go off, King. Reeves, he knew it, too.
And all 3 Lakers stars touched the ball. Some synergy, some chemistry.
Didn't know it could happen.
Reeves for 3.
They needed this in their soul.
Deeply. Viscerally. Come on, Luka.
And he wants an and one.
Of course he does. A shock to no one. Come on, Smart. Oh! On the way down, he said, it doesn't matter. Lakers go on to win 110-101. Here's Bron and JJ.
Well, we knew we wasn't playing against their record tonight. It's the first time they've been whole in quite a while. And we know when they've been whole what type of team they've been. So we came in with that mindset, understanding the type of team that we're playing.
You said you haven't had a win like this since November. Does it feel like, in some ways, the group is starting to find the cohesion that you've been searching for, honestly, since then?
We're a work in progress, and I would just say that. But I'm confident that we'll eventually get to a good space.
So Luka, LeBron, and the Lakers have won 3 straight after that 3-game skid, just getting back even. Tim, what did you learn about the Lakers team?
Not a whole lot. I mean, they beat 3 teams they're supposed to beat. Now, these next couple weeks, we will have a chance to learn something. 6 of their next 8 games are against teams that have better records than them.
Right.
If they can put together a streak, or if they can put together even a winning record during this stretch, the Lakers will have shown us something.
Yeah, JJ Tim said that they're a work in progress. Well, they have to bring their hard hats. Real talk. They got to put in the real work because they're 22nd in defense and 28th in rebounding. You got to fix that. But we all know what the obvious is. Obviously, I just stated it. What I enjoyed, honestly, was LeBron James in transition, 41 years old. And in these matchups, you can get caught up, right? You can say, oh, it's the Pelicans, or it's respectfully the Wizards, or it's respectfully the Utah Jazz, not just trying to throw shade or anything, and just really not play your top game. When LeBron is setting the tone in the first half with these types of plays, it shows that these games still matter. And so I just like LeBron doing what he can to make sure they stay focused.
Yeah, I want to thank LeBron for letting everybody know that 41 is not old, okay? I'm feeling offended.
Only on the court, right?
Let's go coast to coast and get you caught up on the action from around the NBA. First up, the Knicks won their 12th consecutive game against the Raptors after getting 26 points and 10 assists from Jalen Brunson, while Big Cat added 21 points and 12 rebounds. Tim, what's been the key to the Knicks' recent success?
Listen, we're seeing the offensive highlights here, but the key to their success has been on the defensive end. 15-4 in the last 19 games. The best defensive rating in the league during that stretch. If they can do that with Jalen Brunson, with Karl-Anthony Towns, and the Knicks absolutely have a chance to come out of the Eastern Conference.
On to the Spurs. Last night, they put a 40-point beat down on the Sixers. Wemby stuffed the stat sheet, and Dylan Harper added 22. Tanae, how would you grade their performance?
Look, at Stanford, getting an A+ is a major win. This is an Ivy League A+ performance. You said Wemby stuffed the stat sheet. He only had 10 points. People are like, how is that possible? This man was a plus 41 from the floor. None of the other starters played more than 25 minutes. So, yeah, I'm going to lock this game in and say, like, this is the Wemby effect. 10 points, but plus 41, make it make sense.
Period. Off to the Bus City Killers, where the Hornets improved to 19-2 when starting Ball, Miller, Knipple, Bridges, and Diabate. The Hornets have won 5 straight games by 15 or more points. Tim, are people sleeping on this squad?
I better wake up. Listen, 7-18 was their start. They are a 500 team now. There's only been one team in NBA history to have that kind of turnaround mid-season. And as you said, 19-2 with a ridiculous point differential with that starting lineup. The Moose is loose, and the Hornets are hitting threes all over the place.
And so fun to watch. All right, shifting to Minnesota, where Anthony Edwards had a hot and spicy 40-piece against the Grizzlies. Let's go to the highlight. All Ant, all the time. Let's go. Showcasing the midi. I love it.
We call it the midi. The midi. This is the thing that will separate him in the postseason because everyone knew he loves dunks, and also he really made a concerted effort to make threes, but that mid-range is going to come in clutch.
Look at this.
Oh, and he's playing with you right now.
Come on, handles.
Oh.
And the fadeaway.
I should be like,
He's just next level. Later in the half here. Yeah.
Barrage.
He knows it. And he knows it. It's the cool, calm, and collected poise of this man. Let's go to the fourth. A little pump fake and the three, Tim. Come on.
So athletic and so skilled. And the skill is something that has developed really in the last couple of years.
How about the SWAT? SWAT team.
Nope, not up in here.
The athleticism's always been there.
You're funny.
We cannot deny that. Wow, from behind the arc. Easy day. Hot hand in this.
I just love how he said after the game that this is the most fun I have ever had.
Look at him. He's just dancing out there. A little step back.
I mean, 41 points in a 117 to 110 win. Look at that kid. Exactly, young man. And scored 40 for the 9th time this season, tying last year for the most 40-point games in a season in his career with 20 games left to go. Edwards balled out. But before the game, it was Rudy Gobert who made some interesting comments. Take a listen.
I think just passing the ball. I'll be honest. I'll be straight up. I'm not gonna. But someone that is looking to pass the ball to his teammates. I think that's. Simple, right? But he's a connector. So it's someone that that make plays for his teammates.
All right, the Timberwolves have won 4 straight and 7 of their last 8. Tim, what do you make of Rudy's comments? Just give us a chance.
Full disclosure, Rudy's my guy. I once got a pedicure with him.
Love that.
But he sticks his foot in his mouth. It's at least cleaned up with a pedicure, Rudy. And he's welcoming Kyle Anderson back. But, who's got the ball? Anthony Edwards has the ball.
Right.
These are the same kind of comments that used to get under Donovan Mitchell's skin back in the day in Utah. Now, fortunately, Ant's got some real thick skin. I mean, Ant, that kind of stuff bounces off him. But, Rudy, you guys are rolling. You don't need to be whining about not touching the ball. Protect the rim, as you've done to get 4 Defense Players of the Year awards, okay? Run the floor, rebound, set screens, roll. If you don't touch the ball that much, who cares? You're winning. This ain't the time to be rocking the boat.
You know what's funny? With 99% of the players, when they hear a teammate say that, they get in their feelings.
They feel
deep
it.
in their feelings. Anthony Edwards is unbothered, and that's why it's okay. Not too long ago, his coach told him, hey, pass the ball. He said, let me show you what I do.
You want me to shoot the ball. Thank you so much.
Goes right over to
Yeah.
Because they have, right now, what I like, a culture where they can express themselves, but they also know you have to keep the main thing. And right now, the main attraction in the NBA is Anthony Edwards. He's been Showtime. He's been sensational. And I don't think they're going to get lost in the sauce on this one. I was more lost on your feet pedicure story.
I love some manscaping. Love that. That's great. Good.
We all do.
Self-care, Tim.
PSA.
Self-care. It's
I love playing. I can't wait to get back. I have some build-up tension in me.
Giannis Antetokounmpo, his first game back for Milwaukee. Back in the city. It's time to see it. I want it. I take it. It's mine. Look out below. Welcome back, Giannis.
I'm happy that I'm back. I'm just happy that I'm out there, being able to help my teammates and just do what I love, which is play basketball.
big game tonight in the East play-in race on ESPN. Giannis set to play his second game since missing 15 with a calf strain. The Greek Freak went 19 and 11 in his first game back in just over 25 minutes. Now for the Hawks, Jonathan Kuminga has gotten off to a hot start in his Atlanta tenure. He's one of 7 players since the merger to average 20 on 65% shooting in his first 3 games with the franchise, and the first Hawk to do so. And Jalen Johnson is putting together a breakout season. He's one of 2 players to average 20, 10, and 7 this season, along with 3-time MVP Nikola Jokic. He's averaging career highs in all 3 of those categories. The Hawks lead the Bucks by 4 games for the final play-in spot in the East, entering tonight's crucial play-in race matchup on ESPN. And Milwaukee can clinch the head-to-head tiebreaker over Atlanta with a win tonight. Oh, it's getting spicy. Atlanta has won 4 straight. The Bucks have lost their last 3, but Giannis is back, folks. Tim, what's at stake for the Bucks in this matchup?
A chance in hell of making the play-in.
Screaming.
I mean, come on. 4 back. You lose this one as 5. Forget about it. You're not catching the Buzz City Killers. That much I can guarantee you. So you win tonight. keep hope alive to maybe squeeze in the playoffs and still not win a single playoff game. You lose tonight, April 13th. Go ahead and book your flights. Go to the beach, Cancun, Santorini, maybe, wherever you want to go. But it ain't going to be the play-in, and it sure ain't going to be the playoffs.
This is a funny question. What's at stake? We all know what's at stake. Like, it's not these games. It's more so the offseason for Giannis Antetokounmpo. And while I absolutely commend, like 100,000%, his character stepping on the floor, it's just crazy how these two things are diametrically opposed. You have someone that is handling, in my opinion, as a consummate professional, Giannis Antetokounmpo, coming back from injury, still doing his job for the legacy of what he has with the Milwaukee Bucks. I know that there's a, maybe, I don't know if it's higher than 1.5%, higher than their chances of making the playoffs, chance that he comes back. But still, he has handled this, in my opinion, admirably, even despite getting booed at times from the fans. Now, the entire organization, we're going to look at what they do later on. To me, the most fascinating part, by far, is the Jonathan Kuminga situation.
Okay, come on.
Because in football, they have, is it the last guy that gets drafted? Is he called, what is he called?
Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant. Yeah. A lot of people are like, why are we talking about Jonathan Kuminga so much? Wendy, I know this is his, like...
The people love Jonathan Kuminga, that's why.
But, like, he's probably the most relevant, in some ways irrelevant to the big scheme of power because of the way that things were handled with the Warriors, but now seeing him thrive. In 3 games, he's averaged 21 points per game, 7 rebounds, 3 assists on 67% shooting. One thing we know about the NBA, we love to stay petty. And so this is a petty storyline that just keeps going and going and going at probably the expense of the Warriors, because I do think it's hard on the other side. You know, the situation with Kristaps Porzingis, that is a tough situation to manage with a lot of question marks there. But now you're seeing, like, the dialogue between the two, and Kuminga just, you got your time and now you shine.
And look, these are 2 trade sagas that played out before the deadline. Will they trade Giannis? Will he ask out? What's going to happen with Giannis? Which, honestly, this saga's been playing out for years and years and years. I kind of got Giannis fatigue. It felt like the Kuminga thing was going to play out forever. They finally moved him, and he's doing what he said he could do. You know, he said, hey, I'm a guy, if you put the ball in my hand, I'm going to get buckets. He has done that. Now, Giannis, you mentioned getting booed. They weren't booing Giannis in Milwaukee. They were booing the Bucks. Do you know why?
Really? Are you think so?
Yes, they were booing the Bucks because they were getting blown out because the Bucks stink, which is why Giannis wants out, even though he's not willing to.
That's fair.
I know.
He took
say it out loud.
He took it personal because he's like, this is the place that I'm home. This is the place that I'm actually handling this process with the utmost respect. But he felt he was in his feelings, so he booed back. And I still thought that was okay, but everyone shamed me on this show for saying the boo back was not cool.
I was for it.
I'm here for it, too.
I like
you put your body on the line.
I like
you bring a
chippy Giannis out there.
But I mean, look, they must not know what it's like to be a New York Knicks fan, because they will boo their team.
Yeah, don't ask to be traded to New York if you don't like getting booed.
Right?
Not for the week, that is for sure. Okay, a lot happening today. Let's take it to the second round of the Women's Sun Belt Championship Tournament. Not yet? Oh, just kidding. It is, we do have a developing story actually here. Showdown in the Garden tonight as the Thunder will bring the league's best defense to town to battle the Knicks' 3rd best offense. But since January 21st, it's been the Knicks leading the league in defensive efficiency. That's after ranking 18th up to that point. And SGA has never lost in his career visits to the current Madison Square Garden. He is one of 4 players to start in and win each of their first 6 visits to the modern MSG. Here's Shea Butter, as we like to call him, on his game.
I would describe my game as
the NBA, the greatest basketball players in the world.
To really be the coolest dude in the room when you walk in, but also be the smoothest on the court.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is special.
Really weird, bro.
cerebral.
He's just ridiculous. Shea is just putting on an absolute clinic, bro.
Elusive.
When I get to snapping like doo-wop.
Do a couple of defender. What a move by SGA!
Say I'm too sick, I chew. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me.
OKC is dealing with several injuries. SGA missed last night's game and is still dealing with that abdominal strain. Who's available tonight, Tim?
Yeah, SGA, that was preventative maintenance last night, just being cautious coming back from the ab strain, sitting out the first night of a back-to-back. Same with Isaiah Hartenstein. He'd had a calf strain a couple times this year. Being careful with him. Also, you don't exactly have to bring your best to beat the Bulls. Jalen Williams will be reevaluated here in the next couple of days. I don't have a feel on whether a green light is coming for him. A.J. Mitchell, a key reserve for them, has been out for a while. First an ab strain. was ready to come back, sprained his ankle during the All-Star break working out. I'm told probably at some point next week for him.
Okay. Janae, what can the Knicks prove tonight?
Woo, man, to be a New York Knicks fan, I feel like I was saying earlier today that you need blood pressure medication with like the performances
not
being
for
so
the week.
up and down. It is not for the week. But the good thing is that it feels like they're ascending at the right time. They're identifying themselves with the greatness that we saw over the course of last year's postseason. And so what's at stake? They can prove to themselves that they are the team that beat the San Antonio Spurs a couple days ago. They can prove to themselves that we actually found a rubric versus the Raptors, because I love the box score. Karl-Anthony Towns took 17 shots. Jalen Brunson took 22. Jalen Brunson also had 10 assists, and they kept their opponent under 100 points. If you can keep that going, moving forward, that's a recipe for success. Now, also, if they can beat the team that is currently the defending champs, then they feel like, hey, we've got the Spurs. We've got, we've got the Thunder. And so maybe we can get rid of our boogeyman, which is a Detroit Pistons.
Oh, I was going to say, they didn't get the Pistons.
Maybe that means that if we can go up against them, like, we can actually be the team that needs to get the wins when it matters most, because their heart was broken last year. They want to right the wrongs this year.
And look, with the Pistons, what happened against the Pistons? What has happened repeatedly against the Pistons? They've wilted because the Pistons are bullies. That physicality. Guess who else is some bullies? OKC, Lou Dort.
True.
Cason Wallace, Alex Caruso. Like, there's going to be some physical defense. This is going to be a great test for the Knicks.
You know what's crazy? The Oklahoma City Thunder, they have had multiple of their star players out a number of games. They've had 26 different starting lineups, yet they are still right where they need to be in the Western Conference.
That part.
And they're able to still withstand that. They still have the #1 defense in the NBA, so this will be a good test for the Knicks.
How do you think this Knicks defense is going to be tonight? What are you expecting from them?
Listen, I didn't think the Knicks could put together this kind of defensive stretch. So let's just start with giving them credit. There was a lot of questions about, can a team built around Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns be good enough defensively to contend for a championship? It's about a quarter of the season sample size. This isn't some little blip here where they're not just the #1 team defensively during that stretch, but it's by a significant margin. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's a fluke. That's too large of a sample size. You know what it kind of reminds me of? The year the Mavericks went to the finals, the last quarter of the season, they went from not being very good defensively to the #1 defense in the league during that stretch.
That's true.
That's what it feels like for these Knicks. They've found something there.
I know we do our own power rankings, but it's interesting to me because, like, the Knicks are rising, the Cavs are rising, the Celtics might be getting Jason Tatum back soon. Like, they're rising, so it's different. The standings may not reflect where these teams are trending.
Typical of the East. What are you expecting from my play cousin, Karl-Anthony Towns, tonight?
Look, that's hilarious. Cat has to understand the ebbs and flows of a game. And I understand that this system may not be designed for him to always get the touches he wants, but he has to choose to make his influence felt regardless of that. As someone who played the post position, if this was not my night, the strategy was for the guards to do their thing, pick and roll, shoot from 3, I would still go out there and get an offensive rebound. I would still go out there and try to find a mismatch and demand the ball. And I do believe the last few days have been turning of a corner for him, because maybe hopefully the hard conversations have been had. So it's like, we value you, we will find you, but we also need you to help when other people are thriving, when other people are eating.
Yeah, no question. I'm expecting a big game from him. If nothing else, let's make me look good. Come on. Represent for the family. No relation, by the way, guys. It's just because he's Dominican, so we always claim each other. All right, it's time now to head-to-head, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. All right, today, who scores more points tonight, SGA or Jalen Brunson?
That man gets out of bed and he's already at like 25 points. So I'm going with Shea Gilgeous, Alexander Shea Butter for me.
I know. 30 is like the baseline. More points, Chat or Cat?
For me, again, Chat or Cat. Ooh, this is a good one. I'm going to go Cat. I'm going to go Cat. I'm going to take him, yeah.
I love that. More points, Cason Wallace or
I guess this is all on me, huh? I guess you recused yourself, Tim. Cason Wallace and Mikal Bridges. Bridges has been better lately, but I've been excited to see Cason Wallace. I think taking the opportunity to step into more minutes, he's made the most of them count. So, how many people did I pick? Did I pick?
Oh.
I picked SGA.
We threw him.
I put Cason Wallace. Oh, and I gave Cat. I gave your cousin, tu primo.
Mi primo! Cincinnati, and here is how it went. All eyes on the young man as we try to figure out his future here. 12 minutes left in the first half. Come on in the paint.
Step through.
Ooh. Easy day. Why does he make it look so simple?
Honestly, looking like a pro striding through that lane. You know what's interesting? A lot of conversation about the availability or lack thereof of stars. This man wants all the smoke all the time. I'm here for it.
Second half now. Look at that. Using the contact to his advantage. Not afraid of a little physicality. You saw that bump, Tim? You saw it.
6'9" and skilled.
That's it. Wow.
Heavy on skill.
And then there's that game high 23 points, but ultimately the Bearcats lose 90-68. Okay, on the Desert Voices.
Do you want to go number one?
Yeah.
Do you think you will?
Well, I might not leave.
What do you mean?
Like, I might not leave college.
Why not?
No, I just got to return to the season.
So you haven't made up your mind that you're going to go into the draft?
Nah, my mom wants me to graduate.
Really?
Yeah, so I might not leave. But I might leave. I don't know. You know, the fans might get into my head, talk about, you know, 1 more year, maybe 3 more years. I don't know.
That was AJ on the Desert Voices podcast on Tuesday, just playing with our hearts. Tim, do you believe that he will return to BYU next year?
I believe he might remain on Ryan Smith's payroll. But he's going to have to wear a Utah Jazz uniform. He ain't turning down top 2, top 3 money. Yeah. I mean, I know they pay a lot at BYU, but it is not top 2, top 3 money. Take summer school. I took a lot of them, even passed those classes.
Yeah, no, there are different ways for you to stay in school and also have your dreams come true. And I'm never going to get in the way of a prospect and their parent. And mom is saying the right thing. Education always matters. But that man better go.
Take some economics classes.
That man better go. 2 things can be true at once. You can go pro and you can also still get your degree. That's so funny.
Yeah, the credits will roll over. You will always be able to go back and take more classes. Summer courses, very, very important for sure. All right, here's a look at ESPN's latest mock draft. AJ Diabanza sits at the number 2 overall spot behind only top pick Darren Peterson. Diabanza is followed by Duke stud Cameron Boozer. And we're continuing to follow the developing story out of Brooklyn this week after Terry Rozier's appearance in court on Tuesday related to the gambling investigation. There's another NBA name back in court today. Chauncey Billups is among dozens of defendants appearing in federal court today in the alleged rigged poker ring case. Now joining us outside of the courthouse in Brooklyn is chief investigative correspondent for ABC News, Aaron Katersky. Aaron, what stood out to you inside the courtroom today?
I think Chauncey Billups certainly stood out. He looked quite dapper in a dark suit, white shirt, sat right in the front row of the gigantic courthouse in Brooklyn Federal Court to hear the judge set a trial date for the case. This is the one, MJ, that charges Billups and Damon Jones with using their celebrity and fame to lure unsuspecting players to poker games that were rigged by the mob. And Billups and the other defendants are going to stand trial now November 2nd. Not all at once. The case is just too big and there are too many defendants to put them all on trial at once, so prosecutors and defense attorneys are going to have to figure out how to divvy up the case. But in all likelihood, similarly situated defendants like Billups and Damon Jones could face trial together because they were what prosecutors called the face cards. They used their face to get people to those rigged tables.
Now, the allegation is that Billups acted as a lure, as you mentioned, to bring players into these poker games. How central do prosecutors appear to view his role compared with the other charges in this alleged ring?
You know, on one hand, he's something of a bit player because there are others who were shaking down people for money, allegedly. There are those who actually brought in the equipment to rig the tables, the ones you could, see through and have some transparency for the cards. There were those who backed the games, with money, and many of them are allegedly tied to the mob. But without Chauncey Billups and without Damon Jones, the high rollers don't get to the table, according to federal prosecutors. They're the ones that brought in the people with the big money to lose. And so this scheme, as alleged, cost the unsuspecting players, in some cases, millions of dollars. And for that, prosecutors say Chauncey Billups and Damon Jones played a big part.
Now, yesterday we saw that Terry Rozier was back in court as well. What are the next steps for these cases?
His case has not yet been set for trial, and Rozier has been trying to dismiss the charges against him that involve tanking on purpose and leaving a game with a faked injury but not before tipping off one of his childhood buddies so that he and others could make some big bets on gambling platforms. Rozier says this is mischarged, a misapplication of the law. The judge has not yet ruled on his motion to dismiss. But in both of the cases, the rigged poker, the bad gambling, both of the cases, federal prosecutors say a number of the defendants, they won't say which ones, MJ, but a number of the defendants are now considering plea deals. So we'll see how many are willing to take them and perhaps, if called upon, flip on their co-defendants.
A lot of layers to this for sure. Aaron, thank you so much. All right, coming up, it's not happening today in the fourth quarter of Coastal Carolina's Tracy Hudson connects with a punch that hits one of the referees and knocks her to the floor. She would be ejected. 7 South Alabama players were also ejected in the middle of all of this. Ooh. Oh. Yeah, no, that's tough. Scary moment. Scary moment for sure. You can see the full team there. Things just really escalated.
Completely unacceptable. Mm-hmm. Absolutely unacceptable. As someone who covers basketball, particularly women's basketball, the point of the referee, they're in the mix because they want to protect you and they want to keep the game in a safe space. And so this is the last thing you want. And I understand that feelings and emotions are high when you're competing in tournament time. I'm about to go to Greenville, South Carolina to work the SEC tournament. A lot of people feel like their hopes and dreams, whether you're a freshman or you're a senior, you know, it comes down to these moments. But first of all, we rarely, if ever, see this in our game. Mm-hmm. And more so, we do not condone violence, especially for those who are trying to safeguard the game. And so, yeah, this is absolutely unacceptable. And this is not what you want to see at the start of this most marvelous march.
Right. It's an intense moment there for sure, Tim, but sometimes these things happen. And unfortunately, that ref got in the middle of all of it.
Yeah, that's a tough one. And that's why, you know, the basketball scuffles, they're grabbing, they're pushing. Mm-hmm. Don't need punches in the game.
Yeah, but I do think, as you mentioned, like, this does happen in the game, but it should never escalate to the point where people, personnel, everyone, like, it's never okay.
It's also why refs don't get in front of Beef Stew when he gets mad.
Yeah, they stay away from certain people. But yeah,
I would.
I'm sure that it caught people off guard. This is not what they expected. This is not what they planned. But we wish the best to the referee.
No question. All right, before we bounce, the Unrivaled Championship game is tonight in Miami, featuring the top-seeded Phantom against the second-seeded Miss with $600,000 on the night. Who you got, Janae?
Honestly, Unrivaled has won. They have won. I love this league because it actually gives opportunity to be creative with the game. This is a player-led league that has taken a lot of feedback from the fans. They've owned the marketing. They've owned the engagement. And now, did you see Chelsea Gray won the one-on-one? And she's won MVP. Like, they're paying the women. It just is this is what happens when you...
We start with our top story. Yesterday, WNBPA Executive Committee members Kelsey Plum and Brianna Stewart wrote a 3-page letter to Players Union Executive Director Terry Jackson expressing, quote, serious concerns about how the PA is handling the current negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement. Today, the WNBPA Executive Committee released it said in part, in every CBA negotiation, the goal of the league and teams is to divide the players. These negotiations are no different. We remain united and focused on delivering a transformational CBA for all members of this union and are committed to negotiating for as long as it takes. Despite our differences and tough moments, we must make crystal clear that we are focused, we are resolute, and we are together. We want to play basketball in 2026. We want to be in front of our fans playing the game that we love. We will not stop fighting. There is no WNBA without the players. The union also released the results of a member survey where 84% of players said they would not accept a proposal from the league for 50% of net revenue, which they describe as less than 15% of gross revenue. So an overwhelming majority agree on that. We now welcome in our WNBA insider, Alexa Philippou. Alexa, with all of this in flux and all the things that have happened in the past 24 hours, what does this mean for the players?
Yeah, MJ, I think what's become apparent is that there's kind of some factions that have developed in the player body and some different opinions on how to move forward, not really coming to a consensus at this point. And when you see this letter specifically from Brianna Stewart and Kelsey Plum, their specific concerns that they articulated were that they don't feel like they've had an adequate seat at the table in negotiations. The specifics they mentioned were there being a communication breakdown, requesting a slew of information that they were not provided by the PA, and that when, quote, we and other players have attempted to express concerns about negotiations, we have been made to feel as though we are acting against the interests of the PA, end quote. So there was a player call last night to discuss the issues that were expressed in this letter. I think they really the players had to hash things out and try to get on the same page as they hopes to figure out a new way forward to try and come up with what a next counter proposal would look like to the league following the league's proposal from Sunday night.
So you mentioned the counter proposal. What would the players be weighing in this counter?
I think so much of this still comes down to revenue share. And you have, the differences in opinions on what system should be implemented, what percentage of revenue should go to the players. But to me, I see the breakdown as, you have players like Brianna Stewart and Kelsey Plum who are saying, why don't we just negotiate? In their view, this is what they've called in that letter a pragmatic approach, basically negotiate off the league's proposal, try to get more out of it, not just accept the deal as is. And you have seen that as the result of that player survey. 84% of those respondents did not want to take the deal as is, but you have that maybe one group that's saying let's negotiate off that proposal versus another perhaps group of players who feels like they want to hold their ground and stick with that gross revenue model and closer to 26% of revenue split that they've been asking for. So that's what I'll be looking for is to see kind of what side more or less is reflected in that next proposal.
All right, Alexa, a busy day for you for sure. We'll let you get back to it. Thanks for joining us and keeping us informed. Okay, we now welcome in Vice President of the WNBPA's Executive Committee, Alicia Clark. Alicia, thank you so much for joining us. And earlier today, the union released the results of the WNBPA survey on the league's latest proposal. 84% of the respondents said they would not accept the term. What does this mean moving forward?
I think it just continues to illustrate what the majority feels. We are at a place where we feel like the proposals the leagues have sent haven't been good ones. And, we want to continue to fight for what we know we deserve. And we hope that at some point the league decides to have that same, sentiment towards us as well through the proposals that they send.
Now, is a strike still on the table for the players?
I mean, when you look at the vote that we took back in December, we didn't take that lightly at all. And it was almost a unanimous vote for yes, that, a strike is on the table. And so as a union, we're going to use every tool that we have in our pocket to be able to fight and get what we know we deserve. So it's very much still on the table. And that is something that I think is clear as we continue to have these conversations with our union and the players in the league.
All right, Alicia Clark, thank you so much for your insight and for joining us here on NBA Today. All right, we're approaching crunch time in these negotiations. The WNBA draft is scheduled for April 13th, and then the preseason is slated to begin just 12 days later. The regular season is scheduled to start on May 8th. That's just over 2 months from today. All right, Janae, what's your reaction to the survey and, of course, the statement that we saw there from the WNBPA?
I know that there's a lot of information going back and forth right now, and that most know that my sister is president of the Players Association, but I also served on the executive committee of the last CBA, the 2020 CBA. So especially now I try to stick to the facts. And when I was joining the union, they really immediately taught us the history of labor negotiations, and they taught us that both sides have weapons. Now, the league has one weapon, and that is, one, having the books, meaning you can claim that hundreds of millions of dollars are lost. But this is also important to note that this is the first time that they saw a revenue trigger actually be achieved as well. Deadlines. The league has deadlines where they try to instill panic in some ways. March 10th is the deadline that people are up against. And then, of course, the goal is to divide the union, right? Those are the league's tactics. Now, the union's tactic is the ability to have a strike, right? Or a refusal of services. And at this point, I think that the numbers show through 84% of the players voting that they do not want to accept the current league's proposal. That sort of reflects, in my opinion, probably the majority thought in the players. And lastly, I'll just say this. When we were in December in 2020, there was a point where, all right, the union felt like we pushed as far as we could go, and then the league felt like they pushed as far as they could go. But then, in the midst of it all, the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, at that time, reached out directly to the union and said, hey, how can we speak the same languages and get on the same page so that we can have basketball happen? And I do believe that what has transpired over the last year or so, we've seen the comments sparked by, Nafisa Collier and the relationship with the players being a little bit at more friction with the commissioner. That has really made this compromising because you really need that leader in this moment to be able to advocate or at least reach and have a relationship with players to say, hey, this is what the league wants. How can we get to where we need to go? And so there are many things at play, many weapons being used, but right now the players are saying that 84% of them, they will not accept this proposal. You want to keep negotiating.
Yeah, the definition of standing 10 toes down in these negotiations for sure. All right, Shanae. Last night, the motorcade rolled through Cleveland, but the Donovan Mitchell-less Cavs wanted all the smoke. All right, let's get to the highlights, y'all. Cade Cunningham and the Pistons facing off against the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell, as mentioned, missing the 4th straight game with that groin injury. First quarter here. All right, Jalen Duren.
Yeah, he showed up. He showed up. Nice highlight right there.
Every part of that. Second quarter now. Come on, spin move.
Yeah, that's what they need from Evan Mobley, to be aggressive and to be one of those post players that cannot be guarded in the Eastern Conference.
2:30 left. The beard.
That's what he does. That step back is patented.
Period. All right, we go to the fourth quarter now. How about a little assist from the beard over Jalen Tyson?
Oh, he had himself a night.
Yeah, 22 points, 5 3-pointers.
Yep.
Made. Insane. A little later.
Oh,
sorry, Asar.
Hey.
Okay, alley-oop.
Those are my favorite players, the twins, Asar. So as a Rockets fan,
Top square.
I always support both of them. Oh, rejected. Okay, two-way.
Not up in here.
Two-way, Cade.
Cade said, I got a little something for you. Next possession. Woo! From the wing. Come on, Mobley.
Yeah, that's what you want to see, right? Yep.
3 minutes left in the fourth.
Close game still.
That is a big, strong dude.
He had a double-double, 24 points, 14 boards.
Yeah, best performance for the Pistons.
Beep, beep.
Oh,
meat. It's meat.
Meat. Is it meat? We got to get the sound effects correct, guys. Here we go. And the Cavs got the win 113 to 109. Right, the Cavs have been one of the hottest teams in the league since acquiring Harden, winning 9 of 12 games since he joined. They have scored almost 120 points per 100 possessions, second best in the NBA in that time. All right, so James Harden and Evan Mobley both scored 18 points. Jalen Johnson just added 22. Hi, Tim. Good to see you.
Howdy, MJ.
What did you learn about the Cavs in this very impressive win over the top-seeded Pistons?
Well, and especially impressive with Donovan Mitchell out, and James Harden didn't have a great shooting night, and they still put up 113 points. Jalen Tyson, as you said, having a breakout season. Dennis Schroeder, though, didn't obviously not as big a splash as James Harden in the trade market, but really helped Detroit late last year.
Yep.
Really helped Cleveland in this one.
Yeah, he absolutely did. To me, I think what's fascinating is on paper, I was going back and forth all day. Who is the most talented team on paper at full strength in the Eastern Conference? And it was hard for me to make a case against the Cleveland Cavaliers. You have an 11-time All-Star in James Harden, who's currently number 4 with assists per game, right? Donovan Mitchell, he's having a career year. I know he sat out, but 29 points per game. But most importantly, everyone's eyes are on the post players. And I know some left early last night, but still, Evan Mobley, when he is efficient, that is the best version of Evan Mobley. And lastly, I'll say this. Jarrett Allen, he is averaging 19 and 10 on 73% shooting, playing alongside James Harden. So that collection of talent, to me, has the most upside. Now, do they have the most championship experience, or do we have the most belief in them when it comes to a championship? Maybe not, but right now, they look like one of those teams to beat.
Yeah, when you have a player who elevates everybody else, it makes a huge difference. On the other side, the Detroit struggled with shooting the ball. Cade was 4 of 16 from the field, including 0 for 7 in the paint. Tim, how are the Cavs really able to slow him down?
Well, and you talk about Mobley and Allen, 4-16, that is a credit to them.
Yeah.
And look, Cade has struggled sometimes against elite rim protection. 4-16 here, 5 of 26 in that recent loss to Wemby and the San Antonio Spurs. He's had a couple other really rough shooting performances this year against the Cavs. And we all understand the Pistons have some real spacing challenges. They have the challenge of not having another dynamic creator other than Cade Cunningham. He's going to have to play in crowds, and that might mean some nights that aren't real pretty in terms of his field goal percentage.
Yeah, he's only one dude, can only do but so much for that squad. He's trying, though. He